All right, Jim. I think we may have a disagreement here. I could tell we were talking during the show, and I just kind of said on the way out, we were talking with Anthony Slater. On the way out, I said, oh, by the way, Steph shouldn't have been ejected last night against the Grizzlies for throwing his mouthpiece. And you said, oh, yes, he should have. Threw his mouth guard. He was ejected from the game because in the NBA rulebook, it says if you throw your mouth guard with force into the stands, then that's just an automatic ejection. And so for further context, and that's really my argument here, but I want to hear you first. Steph is asking for the ball. Jordan Poole doing too much as usual. Steph frustrated, didn't throw it at anybody, just threw his mouthpiece. Could have thrown a wristband, but he happened to throw mouth guard. He was ejected with about a minute to play because that's what everybody wanted to see. Whether you're rooting for the Grizzlies or not, everybody wanted to see Steph Curry ejected with a minute and change left in a close game. That's what we want, right? That's what we pay for. We pay for our NBA officials to enforce the rule book to the letter. So, oh, wait a minute. He threw his mouth guard. Here's my rule book. Oh, he's got to go. Tell me why this makes sense, Jim. Come on. I want to hear it. Then I'll tell you why it's bogus.
Well, I'll start with the fact that, as you say, based on the letter of the law and the rule book, both Steve Kerr and Steph Curry acknowledged that based on that, he should have been ejected. Now,
because they like their money. Because they like their money. Because they like their money. They don't believe that. They like their money. They don't want to criticize.
I think both. See, you're not even gonna let me finish. I think both of them have enough money. I think both of them have enough money to pay any fine that would come their way. Okay, that's number one. Number two, Steph's intent clearly was not for the mouthpiece to go into the stands or to hit or touch anyone or whatever. But when you throw it with force and it winds up going off of the court, that is what is going to happen. And as I said to you earlier, I think that was a manifestation of the frustration that he is having based on how this season is going and how this team is performing. No question, he acknowledged that as well. The part that you said about that's what everyone wants to see, the officials read the rule book to the letter of the law and throw them out, that's what they want to see? Of course not, man. Come on. I'm sitting up there watching the game in the arena saying to myself, man, that took a lot of courage on that official's part to throw Steph out in that situation in the Chase Center. So it took some courage now.
Okay. Oh, is that what it did?
No, I had another. Is that what it was? I had another word for it. But again, I know that we have some young children who may be watching, so I'm trying to. No,
stop this. This show's not for kids. Look, I'm glad the kids watch it. Watch it with your parents and have your parents explain some of the words we use and concepts. Okay, this is not a designed for kids show. We got something else. Like Mike and I will do something like that. As the franchise grows, we're gonna do our kids show. We'll do our kids show.
Look, bro.
It'll be on Peacock, another Peacock original for kids. Yeah. But this ain't it. Okay, listen, man.
My brother. Hey, yeah. Look, my brother's at the game with me, and the first thing he said was, "It took a lot of balls to throw Steph out of that game." Okay.
No, it didn't. It didn't take balls. No, it didn't. You know what it took? It took just kind of falling into the trap of the worst people in the world. You know who the worst people in the world are? I'm just going to tell them about themselves. I've said this before. The worst people in the world are literalists. They're literalists. They drive me crazy. They have no context. They have narrow vision. They were told to do one thing, and no matter what happens, they just focus on the one thing they were told to do. So, for example, let me just give you an example. If a literalist is told, hey, you watch anybody who makes a right on red when it says no turn on red. But if an ambulance goes by and turns right on red, the literalist will be like, oh, no, track them down. That's a violation of the rule. The rule says no turn on red, and there's no special treatment for you. They lack context. They lack nuance. They don't read the room. They don't know the moment. They are on basketball courts. They're your neighbors. They were on the golf course with you. Literalists will ruin us all. They're no fun. You can't joke with them. You can't do anything with them. Because they don't know any better. I ain't done. Damn it. Okay. Steph Curry was mad at his teammate. He's mad at his teammate. He took out his mouth guard. He ain't say nothing to the official. He wasn't mad at the fans. He's a world-class professional athlete showing emotion on a basketball court, threw his mouth guard down, didn't hurt anybody, didn't disrupt the game, and the little literalist official, chump, threw him out of the game. And I'm gonna tell you what, I got a problem with you. Shame on you. See, I got a problem with you, Jim Trotter. You know what? This is why I ain't gonna do nothing for you. This is why I ain't gonna do nothing for you. You know why? Because you're ungrateful. Hey, Gary, bring up that picture. This is Jim Trotter. Jim Trotter was at the game last.
I don't get to respond. I don't get to respond.
No.
That first.
Not yet.
I don't get to respond at all.
Not yet.
Come on, wait. Let me respond for a minute.
Jim Trotter was at the game last night. Here's Trotter. Look. Oh, look who he's standing next to. Probably said all kinds of wonderful things to Steph. Oh, Steph, you're my favorite player in the game, and you're amazing. You're an inspiration. You do so much for the sport. You've transcended basketball. All this stuff. This is before the game. And then he's going to come on brother from another saying the guy who met with him before the game, hey, throw him out. See, you can't do nothing for people. See? Ungrateful. Shame on you, Trotter.
Are you done?
Look at this picture.
Are you done?
Yes, go ahead.
Are you done? Okay, first of all, if you saw me and the red lights that I ran and the illegal turns that I made to get to the golf course this morning on time, you know I'm not a literalist, okay? Number two, and you know this, the reason the officials read the rule that way and acted in the way that they acted is protecting the league. Because if a player, as you know, throws something like that, and obviously, again, his intent was not for it to hit anyone. Okay. But in a situation where potentially it hits someone, all of a sudden, who becomes liable? The team, the league. Sure. So it is a protection mechanism. So that's why.
If that happens. Right.
So
if that happens, right.
No,
I agree with you.
Yes.
If that happens.
Right. So one of the ways
should we go case by case?
One of the ways you stop it by happening, period, is to let players know up front that if this occurs, this is what is going to happen. And there are certain situations, as you know, where some rules are carry more weight than others in any sport. So look, again, do I love Steph? Absolutely. Did I say glowing things to him when we met? Absolutely.
Of course you do.
Do I believe that he should have been ejected in that situation? Yes. And do you know who else believes it again? You keep missing this point.
He doesn't believe it. He said
the head coach.
They said it, doesn't mean
Okay.
They said it. They said it.
Okay.
I don't know if they believe it.
All right.
I don't know. I don't know. Okay. I know they said it. I'll give you that point. They said it.
Okay.
What?
No. And look, Steph was
Jim,
no. And Steph. No. Hold on.
I never said you were. No. I never said you were.
I know.
By the way.
No. I know you did. I'm just messing with you.
Right.
But again, Steph accepts that by the letter of the rule, he should have been ejected. Now, he also will tell you that it was not his intent for that to hit anyone. And did he want to be ejected? Does he feel does he wish the officials had not ejected him? Absolutely. Absolutely. All of that. But look, it is what it is. And I didn't pay my money to watch Steph be run off the court in the final minutes.
Right.
I'm with you. But there are certain things that are big. There are certain things that are bigger than not calling traveling, you know?
Okay. Well, right. But and that's the funny thing. That's the funny thing. Literalists are sometimes selective, which also makes them the worst people in the world. That they're selective. So I'm gonna look at, dude, pretend like you ain't see it. This is the NBA. This is Grizzlies, Warriors.
No, Michael, but you can't miss that one. You can't miss that one.
Yes, you can.
You can't.
Yes,
you can't.
You
don't think
who's the official? I don't know who the official is.
You don't think ESPN is going to be showing that? You don't think ESPN is going to be running that clip?
They don't care. ESPN doesn't care. Look,
I want to know what world you're living in.
I'll tell you this, world. I don't even know the official. Once again, I'll tell you if I'm wrong. I will guarantee the profile of a literalist is generally somebody with a lack of experience. I'll bet you that official has fewer than 5 years of experience. I don't even know who it is. I could be wrong.
No. And you may be right. But what I'm saying to you, though, is do you not think ESPN would have run that clip over and over and over?
Sure, they would have. And maybe the Warriors and maybe the Warriors are called on it and somebody gets in trouble because you should have called that official, maybe. Or they say,
but
I get it. Go ahead.
No, but then let me say to you, so if ESPN runs that clip over and over, and let's say another player, another team does it, and let's say it hits someone, not intentional, but it hits someone in the eye, and you don't think a lawyer is going to say, we got proof this goes on in the NBA, and there are no consequences for it, and they run that clip. You don't think that would be used in some sort of lawsuit?
Jim, it could.
I'm just asking.
It could be used. No, okay. I know you're asking. I'm going to answer it. Yes, that could happen. But can I point out to you that LeBron James did the same thing? LeBron James threw something. It happens in the NBA. He threw something into the stands. He was not ejected. Okay,
Michael, didn't we just have a player? Didn't we have another player do this recently who was ejected? Same thing. Okay, and it wasn't even some violent toss or whatever, right? Right.
They're all over the place, and it's funny what I was going to say about literalists and how selective they are. It's funny that this is coming from NBA officials who are selective on everything. I don't know what the hell they're looking at half the time. But okay, that's my point. That's my point. You don't have, so now you're going to go by letter of the law in the final minute on a mouth guard throw. But I see guys go down the lane and get hammered in the final minute of a close game, and the officials look the other way. I see traveling all the time. I see coaches walking.
We're not going to compare traveling to throwing something into the stands, are we?
Well, wait a minute. I see my point is, I see all types of violations in the NBA every night. I'll watch Celtics Knicks tonight. I will see some violation that won't be called, and I'll keep it moving because that's how it is in the NBA most of the time. We got to find out if that guy has fewer than 5 years of experience. If he does, you don't want to hear it. I will be celebrating myself, patting myself on the back for the next 2 weeks because just feeds right into what I already got a preconceived notion. I'm already biased.
Catch, right? I know.
Listen, hey man, I love you.
So when my wife kicked me out of the house because I was sitting here arguing with you, can I stay at your place? Can I stay at your place?
That's blame me.
Can I stay at your place?
No, she ain't gonna kick you out. You can always. You always got a place. You always got a place here with the Hollies. I love you, even though you're so wrong on this. Good to see you, Jim Trotter. And we'll talk to you next week. Enjoy the games too. Enjoy the football games.
Love you too, my brother. Always.
See you, brother. Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget you can catch us 3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.